Hello everybody and welcome back to Building the Enterprise D here on the channel. Today we're going to start on issue 18, which comprises stages 67 through to stage 70. Now can you believe that? We're actually on to stage 70 soon. We'll be in the 70s. I'm not quite sure how many stages in total there are going to be for this. For some reason my mind is giving me two figures. Either 120 or 200. Now, we've done a fair chunk of the ship at the moment. We've done the entirety of the top of the saucer, we've done the Cobra head, we've done one of the nacelles, and we've started work on the rear battle system. So I don't think 200's right. I think it's more 120. But if that is correct, then, you know, that's another year's worth of these lovely videos. So for this particular one, we're just going to be looking at 67 and 68. I've kind of decided I want to make sure we only do 2 stages per video nowadays. Just makes it easier to record and edit. But with that said, let's just get straight on with the start of issue 18 and stage 67. Stage 67, we're going to look at fitting 2 more deck panels to the lower saucer section, and then we're going to wire them up to see the windows glow. So there's a touch of familiarity to this one. You know, we've seen many of these deck panels be built over the last year or so. I think it's gone up to a year. I can't quite remember off the top of my head when the first one of these went out. But yeah, we are definitely approaching about a year's worth of these videos, which is really cool. Might have to do like a 1 year anniversary thing, like mention it at least. I always think about doing things like specials, like, oh, I've hit 100 subs, let's do a special, or we've hit so many views, but at the same time I think I've got no ideas for what I'd do for it. I just like to kind of keep everything really sort of nice and chill here. So what I noticed the milestones, and I'm very grateful for them all, I don't really have any ideas for what to do for milestones. It's just one of those things, I guess. So, what we're going to do here anyway, take the deck panel, L207, fit the 7 clear windows and the 10 dark windows in the arrangement shown. The long lip of each window should be closest to the widest end of the panel. So I think I pointed this out in the last video, but when you get your long window here, there's a long lip and a short lip. I think there's some focus issues here. It's very, very short. So what you want to do, just make sure that long lip is at the widest end of the panel, which we're going to do, and it's, I think if you are building along with this, it's probably something you're already keenly aware of. There's not really too much to say about that. We're just going to fix these windows in here. It's always a nice and relaxing process, and I always kind of like it because it's kind of this opportunity at the start of the video for me to ask how everyone's doing, ask what everyone's been up to ask how people are doing with the build. I got a lovely comment just in the morning before recording this one, just saying that these videos have kind of spurred someone on to continue their build of this, which is really heartening to hear. I'm glad. It makes me quite happy that people are sort of looking at my build and going, oh yeah, I want to do this as well, or continue doing this. And I hope that, like I always say, I think I say this every video, I do hope that these videos have been in some way useful to people. You can kind of see, you can maybe see some of the mistakes I've made and how I've corrected them, or if you've been struggling, maybe see how I've gone about doing some of the things here. It's why I try not to edit too much of these videos, unless I really, really need to. I think there's a certain level where I feel, no, I'm going to have to edit that. I'm going to have to do a jump cut here or something. It's usually when I have to go away and like properly figure stuff out. And that's when I kind of have to, you know, take the microphone off for a moment and pull away the camera and just properly examine the build and spend that, like, you know, 5-10 minutes talking to myself like a weirdo. I'm just going, okay, so this goes here and here. What do I do now? That kind of thing. But yeah, what's everyone been up to recently? Everyone moved out of, well, when I'm recording this, it's just the start of March. It's a really nice and sunny day today, actually. Weather seems to be sort of coming out of it being super cold, especially after all these storms we've had here in the UK, and maybe starting to get into spring a little bit. Which is, I like that sort of transitional time of year. I always sort of think what's my favourite time of year, and I always kind of say Christmas is my favourite time of year, because I've got Christmas on my birthday, and it's just a general celebratory mood. But then when I think about it, I kind of like all the times of the year for different reasons. They all bring, like, their own little moments for, you know, I think you build up memories throughout the entire year, and you always have, like, nice things you associate with it. Whether that's, like, the holidays you've been on. For me, you know, there's certain things like, you know, as we go from spring into summer, you've got, like, the convention season, so I can get out and cosplay and see friends. You know, autumn, you've got, like, sort of a very transitional time. So, yeah, I don't really have a favourite time. I don't think there's value in it all. But, yeah, it definitely feels like spring is starting to come on its way. I think for some people, they kind of say spring starts at the very 1st of March. For some, it's sort of that middle period of March. I remember me and my partner looking it up once, and there are different sort of start dates depending on what you believe. There's, like, you know, just different people believe different ones. So, what am I doing now? We're going to secure the reflector panel, L207A, to the back of the deck panel, and we're going to use the 1 BP screw for that. Now I want a smallish screwdriver for this one. So I'm just going to seat that in there. I feel a lot better using these screwdrivers, by the way. It's been a good move. And what we want to do is want to pop that over it. And we just want to pop this screw in there like that. So that's in, and that's nice and secure. I'm going to go to the next page. Okay, and the next page, let me just move some stuff out of the way, is going to require us to bring the saucer into the picture. And it's going to require us to take some of these cables and plug them in. Which, is there any particular one I need? Plug a set of deck panel lights in one step and then another set in the other step. Cool. Simple. Let me just... You think this all looks like nice and neat and organised, but it's really not. If you look down the side of where I am, it is a bit of a disgrace. There's so many boxes and DVDs and books and stuff. I'm just going to grab the saucer. We don't need the rear section for now. And I'm going to move away the deck panel that we built last time. So one problem I'm having with this build is picking up the saucer, putting it down again and finding a place for it on the desk. Amidst everything else I've got, is pretty tricky. So let me just read this out properly. Plug a set of deck panel lights into an A socket on the saucer PCB2, thread its cables through the skeleton as shown. So our PCB2 is here, I promise, it is definitely there. And we're going to want to plug it into one of them slots, which is marked as A, which I can see it's marked as A, but you all probably can't. But we're going to take both of them and thread them through as shown. So we'll plug them into here, and it should thread through and come out on this one here. Then the second set, we'll plug them in and they'll come through, and it's a bit more of a... there's a bit more structure to that one. So glad I got this desk light. It has made things a bit easier for me. So there's there's 3 A slots available to me. 3 A slots, and there's a B slot on either side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the furthest one and just get that in there. And I'm going to make sure that's lined up nicely. that's in. So then what I want to do is that's going to come under. Both of them are going to come under like this. Let's just make sure, and I'm just threading it over for the moment. Then it's going to come under the next one like that. Then it's going to come under that one like this. Actually, do you know what? Because of the other cables, I'm getting a bit too much sort of tension on it. So let's thread them under the existing cables as best we can. And that should give us just a little bit more slack. That's much better. So yeah, just as I always say, don't be afraid to go back and kind of correct yourself. But there, we've got a bit more slack now. Now it comes down to sort of the base of the saucer, much more like the picture we're following. I can even do it under there. There. I just kind of want to make sure I've got as much slack to play with on these as possible. Don't necessarily think I need it, but if you've been following these videos for a while, you see how much trouble I do sometimes have. And that just wants to... We want the red and black to be closer to the panels we've already popped in. So next step, plug another set of deck panel lights into the next socket along, threading its cables as shown. Now this one we've got to do a little bit more to it, but not too much. So again, we're just going to pop it in here. I'm going to find out where it goes, where it lives. Okay, so then we've got that, and then what we're going to do, we're going to thread, well actually what we're going to do first is we're going to give us quite a bit of slack with both of them, because we want the green and yellow one to come along here. We want it to go under here. We want it to go under the next one. But we want it to sit over that one. And then the red and black, we want that one to come under the first one. Then we want it to come under this one, but we want it to come out of this side, there, like that. So I always want to just reiterate, don't use me as like a tutorial as such, but that's, going by the picture, that's what we want. So we want that to come out there and that one there. And we've still got these two just sat nicely down here. So the next step is to take the bulbs from the first set of lights, slot them into the deck panel assembly from step A, as shown, secure the bulbs with the two BP screws and bend the bulb casing away from the panel so they won't prevent you from fitting the deck panel to the saucer later on. So this is the sort of step that I dislike, this sort of one, but it's never usually difficult, it's just awkward. But yes, what I want to do, take the deck panel, you can see it there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop the red and black in here. And we did this in the last video. So yeah, that just sits in nicely like that. This one goes in. So it always says just slot it in there as if it's like so easy to do that, but it's actually, I find so often with this, you actually kind of have to, oh, I've actually done it. Never mind, ignore me. Just ignore me. Secure that down with the 2 BP screws. That's one. That's one in there, and here comes the other one. So, yeah, what have people been up to? I'm trying to think what I've been up to. I'm recording this at the start of March, I think I've already mentioned that. So, for me at the moment, I am quite excited because I'm playing through Elden Ring at the moment. At the moment of recording this, I'm still right at the beginning. So, I've not done too much, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm not sure if I mentioned it too much, but I do enjoy my Soulsborne games. Now, I thought I was a little bit burnt out because of Demon's Souls remake. I didn't enjoy that one quite as much, but I felt maybe it felt a bit archaic. Some of the design was still a little bit sort of old-fashioned-y. Like, it was the very beginning of the Souls franchise. So for me, I mean, I played it when it first came out, but I never completed it. But because I had played so many since, that I'd sort of improved upon the formula, and this one was pretty much a remake with modern graphics and such, it still very much felt like that. So it felt quite archaic to play in terms of design and everything. So I didn't enjoy it quite as much, but it was still good. But I thought I was put off, and I wasn't overly hyped about Elden Ring, and then I saw a lot of the previews, and it just kind of said all the right things for me. And I've ended up getting it, and I'm still sort of at the beginning, just exploring the open world, and it's really good so far. I'm very much enjoying it. Right, so the next step, turn the deck panel over so that the windows face outwards, take the other set of deck panel lights fitted in this step, and slot the bulb with the green and yellow cable into the top of the assembly. This will be properly fixed in place in the next step. We saw that in the last video. We're going to twist this over, so I'm just going to do what it always says, and that's bend these away from that. Then we're going to turn that over, and then we're going to do what it wants us to do, which is take this one and slot it in to there. Now this is one of them steps, I've mentioned this before, I really dislike doing this, and I keep on meaning to get some sort of like glue to put these in place because it's so irritating. But you have to kind of put it in place, and then you have to take the other one and slot that over so that it holds it in place, and then it's just a bit of a process. One of the main things you can do is bend the cabling so that it wraps around, which kind of makes it a bit easier to do so, but it's still a bloody process and a half. That bloody green and yellow ones came out. That's annoying. Thought that would be secured down. Right, I'll tell you what, give me a moment and I'll just go through what we're going to do. So we're going to plug the LED in the top of that one, and then we're going to take the other panel and fix that to the saucer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and do that, because this is going to require a bit of unscrewing again and rescrewing it back in. But I'll join you when that is affixed to the saucer and we can test all those lights together. So I'll see you very shortly. Alright, welcome back. So it's down, and I'll just quickly show you the lights on. So you can see that. Look how lovely that is. It's starting to really... I keep on saying it's starting to really take shape. It's been really starting to take shape for a while, hasn't it? It's just one of them figure of speeches. It didn't take as long to pop down as I expected it to, but what I have kind of found recently is that when it comes to sections like that, and maybe it goes against the point of recording me building it, but I find it a much better and smoother experience if I stop recording so I can put all of my concentration on that particular bit. Right. But with that, it is very, very difficult. It's really awkward. Oh, 2 minutes, that's the door. And back once again. Sorry about that. That was the man from Amazon. Well, not the man from Amazon. It was a delivery man bringing me that, the third in the Coda series. Read the first two already. Really liked them so far. Bit of a dark story, but it's been alright, yeah. Been enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all wraps it up. For those who don't really know, who aren't aware of it, I feel like maybe most of the people who watch this are already aware of it, but with Star Trek, there was a big literary universe of it that was kind of started back in the, I want to say the mid-2000s. I'm not 100% sure, so correct me if I'm wrong on a few of these details. But it was started back then. It was kind of meant to be a bit of a continuation of, Star Trek. I think Nemesis has just came out, and maybe Enterprise had been cancelled. It was around that time when Star Trek kind of faded from our screens and stuff, and it wasn't really a lot going on. So they started like a literary universe, and it kind of became its own canon. It was every novel kind of continued on from one another, or they all linked together, and there was crossovers and reboots and relaunches, and it's been quite successful. And like I said, they built up their own canon over the years. This is what happened to Picard, this is what happened to Data, this is what happened to the Borg, etc., etc. But with Discovery and Picard and Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks and Prodigy now, the literary universe is kind of, its canon has kind of become non-canon anymore. And they're going to do a relaunch of the books, I believe, in which they don't really have their own canon and follow on their more standalone stories once again. Which makes sense, and there's a blurb in one of the books about how all the authors they knew this day would come one day. But what they have been allowed to do with the Coda series is actually sort of give the books their own sort of like nice little send-off, so to speak. Which I think is really cool. I think it's really cool that they've been given that opportunity to do that, because sometimes when it comes to these literary universes, they don't get that opportunity to do that. Let's make sure that's in properly. Okay, so that is that step done. I'm going to have a quick look at that after I'm done recording, just to make sure it's all in properly. But it looks to be fine. So now we're on to step D. Oh no, we're not. That is stage 67 actually complete. Bloody hell, I didn't expect that so soon. Okay, well with that complete, let's move on to stage 68. See you in a second. Welcome back to stage 68. Now, just wanted to mention, sorry if I seemed a bit abrupt ending 67. I actually did think it was going to go on for a little bit longer, because we actually had this component left over from it. It's one of them things where in certain stages they'll give you a part, but it won't be used until a later stage. I always find that a little bit odd. Just because I kind of feel, well, just give you the parts. Like, obviously you build up a part in a stage to use in a later stage, but if it's just a singular part that doesn't need building up, just give you that in a stage. But I assume there's a reasoning for that kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure, and it's not really that big a deal. So anyway, stage 68, we're going to build our second warp nacelle pylon. We're going to get to grips with a different type of escape pod cover. So this is a stage I'm a little bit nervous about this one, because I think we're kind of bringing together two sides of the saucer again. And I remember when I did this for the other one, it was really difficult. Again, it's just one of them perseverance things. But we're going to take the deck panel, we're going to fit the 11 escape pod covers into it. The red line is closest to the widest edge. So your red line, your widest edge. So we're just going to pop these in. And this should be really easy, to be honest with you. Just putting this one together, but then it's attaching it to the saucer itself, which I hope goes smoothly. And then once we're done stage 68, that'll be the end of this episode. So that shouldn't take too long, I don't think. One thing I'm waiting on at the moment is I'm waiting for a delivery of one of the previous stages again. I did want to show off the complete warp nacelle, but unfortunately, I think I mentioned this in the previous video, the battery box is broken on that nacelle. So I need a new one, and I'm gonna hopefully it'll arrive soon, and then we can show that off at the end of one of the next episodes or whatever. So that's done. Take the reflector panel and put it over the escape pod covers and secure it with 2 AM screws. Now, where's the AM ones? There they are. Yeah, what else has been happening at the moment? New Marillion album arrived for me yesterday. I've only been able to listen to it the once so far, but just that once is very, very good. I mean, I'd already heard the 2 singles released so far, called Be Hard on Yourself and Murder Machines, which is a lovely name. I've dropped a screw there. Didn't mean to. There it is. Move you all back there. A lot of travelling for us today. Get this other screw popped in. There you go. Now, they've got some escape pods in there, so worst comes to worst, they can all escape, if you need to. Which, you never know, you might have to escape at some point. And then, fix the outer frame onto the edge of the panel, as shown, fixing the place using 2 DM screws. So that should go there like that. And then we want to get our DM screws. The one thing that's kind of making me a bit more hopeful about this one, fixing this one to the saucer than the other one, is that I don't actually have to think about the light for this one. So it should just be a case of clipping it in the right position and then screwing it down. Sometimes what makes this a bit harder is the presence of the lights, because you're trying to hold the light into place, then you're trying to also position this into place, and while you're positioning it into place, you're trying to screw it down, and it can all get a bit much, maybe a little bit overwhelming. But, we'll wait and see. So next up, what we want to do, I see here, position the deck panel assembly on the lower saucer skeleton so that the outer frame overlaps the edge of the corresponding deck panel on the upper saucer. Secure the assembly using the 2 FM screws. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move everything just out of the way. We've got that, but there's one more escape pod left to go on. You can see it there, but that is what we're going to use to... The screw's going to go through there. And we're going to bring back the saucer. Tell you what, I've... just while we're talking about this, I've been listening to the some of the film soundtracks for Star Trek a lot recently. I absolutely... I've been listening to the Abrams ones, just Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness. Great soundtracks. I haven't listened to Beyond because I've not seen Beyond yet, which I know I need to correct that. But I've been listening to those. I've been listening to the First Contact soundtrack. I even gave a listen to the motion picture soundtrack, which is, as many of you watching this will know, because, I think most people watching this are Trekkies, is where will have heard the Next Generation theme. Like, in part for the first time ever. So what do we do here? So what it says, position it so that it overlaps the edge of the corresponding deck panel on the other saucer. So like that. So it is overlapping now. Then, oh, this is so much easier said than done. Then it wants to go in there like that. Oh, it's it's in. Okay. Then, never mind. Then that was easy. He says until he turns it over and then looks and it's all completely wrong. All right. Let's screw this in now while we have the chance. I had the urge, while I was screwing that down, to hum the theme from Bonanza, which, I don't know why, I enjoy that theme immensely. I've never seen the show. I have no intention of ever seeing the show, but I know the theme. Okay, that's in. That is in, and that is secure, and that is down. I mean, it's not... The one problem is that it's not completely flush here, which... I don't know how much of that is down... Well, some of it is probably down to me and getting it in place. It feels alright. It's not like you're ever going to see it. I mean, I know it's there, which kind of makes it a bit irritating, but I don't think you're ever going to be able to fully correct that. It's just a lot of human kind of error in place, unfortunately. But what we're going to do, we're going to press the escape pod screw cover into place. So that's how you hide some of these screws. Okay, and there you have it. So now we have 2 full rows there. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's all starting to connect to one another, and you know, starting to look good. So next, I'm going to pop this back over there. Tell you what, let's turn the lights on just because we can. I enjoy that. I've lost the switch. Look at that. I absolutely adore that. It's absolute fanboy moments of building my own Enterprise. I used to dream when I was a kid of being the one to design warp drive and take us into the stars. Unfortunately, I was never any good at science. I got like a C grade at best. And I had no interest in that sort of thing, really, beyond thinking, I want to make warp drive and take us into the stars. I got no interest beyond that. My interest was in video games, which I'm fortunate enough to work in video games, so, you know. Swings and roundabouts, as they say. So what we are going to do now, we're going to take the lateral phaser array, and we're going to carefully push the 2 springs onto the pair of pins inside it. Then we're going to slot that into position on the nacelle bracket, as shown there. So, lateral phaser array, 2 springs in there. Now, one thing I will say, and it warns you in the booklet, be very careful with these springs, because they are absolutely tiny. They're very springy, hence them being called springs, and they're very easy to lose. So just slow and steady. So now they're both in there. Then what we're going to do, we're going to pop that into its position here. Make sure the springs are still there. Okay. Then what we're going to do, retrieve the nacelle pylon skeleton, last used in stage 66, and pair it with the nacelle bracket port starboard outer, as shown. So, this is the skeleton. I'm going to get it like that. And the way I did this last time was I kept that down on the floor. Well, on the floor, on the table. I positioned it so that that would fit through nicely. So the springs are just protruding through enough, and you can still get that little bounce from them. So they are in there. So just, you know, just keep hold of it. Then cover the springs with nacelle bracket starboard inner from 67 and secure it into place. So that just cover that like that. Make sure it clips on. And it clips on really easily. Then grab your bag of BP screws, and I've got one from the previous stage, so we're going to use that one. I'm just going to screw that in, and as you do it, it'll clasp the rest of it into place. You no longer need to be holding it to give it that leverage. But we're going to get the other BP screw, or another one. We're just going to pop that one in as well. Okay, so that's now connected on both sides. What we're going to do then, I'm going to turn it over like it asks us to. Then use 2 more BP screws to secure the nacelle bracket starboard side outer panel from the other side. Oh, I actually have something cool to show you all in a moment when we're done with this video. So at the moment of me recording this, I'm going to my first convention as I record this tomorrow. My first convention in, God, over 2 years now, I think. Obviously because, you know, we know what's happened with COVID over the last 2 years. So me and my partner are going to Acme Comic Con over in Glasgow, and we're going to go there and have a lovely, lovely time. So there we go. Right, that's in place now. Yep, so then that springs in and out really, really nicely. And what we are told to do now is just cover the screw heads on the inner panel with the screw covers, and then it is complete. So you get your screw covers here. So yeah, we're at Acme Comic Con tomorrow over in Glasgow. We're going to travel up over there. And that is on the inner panel. We want that. So I'll just put that. So I was wondering about cosplaying, and obviously I haven't cosplayed in like 2 years, and I've put on a little bit of weight. So my normal cosplays, my Shinji and Asuka one, are a little bit out at the moment, especially the Asuka, like male Asuka variant. I also didn't really fancy doing anything too elaborate for my first like convention in 2 years. I wanted to be fairly comfortable. So I've got myself some Starfleet uniforms finally, because I used to have a First Contact style one, but I haven't worn it in a while, and I've put on a little bit of weight, so it's a little bit small for me, and it's always a little bit small anyway. Well, there we go. Anyway, that's the pylon done. So so I've bought a Next Generation one. I've bought the Discovery Season 4 command uniforms, but I also thought that if I am going to be going in uniform, that I should actually get some props to go along with it. So I bought myself a decent comm badge. I think it's just like the official one from... Got them from Forbidden Planet, actually. But I went on eBay and I got myself some lovely 3D printed props that people had made. So the first one, and what I might do is I might actually pop the link in the description on where to get these, because they're fantastic. But the first one is the phaser, which I absolutely love that. Feels really, really nice to use. Well, not use, but nice to hold. It's really nicely made, nice weight to it, and just very, very good quality. Just really, really cool. And the other thing that arrived the other day, and it even came with like a belt holster, is the tricorder. So you take that out, and then you hold it like that, and have a look at that. Is that not absolutely fantastic? It's brilliant. I absolutely love that so much. Also, quite amusingly, it looks like it's got a face. Never unsee that now. But yeah, just sort of, so I can just walk around the con with like, you know, my tricorder and scan things. So yeah, I'll be at Acme Comic Con tomorrow, as the time recording this, so obviously it won't matter to you all watching this, but yeah, very much looking forward to it and dressing up in Starfleet uniform. But that brings us to the end of today's video. We've finished stage 68. We've done some work on the saucer. We've actually got 2 more bits joined together. We've done some more work on the pylon, which is coming along really, really nicely. So what I will do is I will say goodbye to you all. Thank you very much for watching. Please like the video. Please comment on it. Please share it with other people. I've noticed these videos starting to get more views now, so I presume someone's sharing them. But, you know, please continue to share them in your Star Trek communities. If you're part of the Reddit or if you're on Twitter, share them there. Let people know what's going on here. Just, you know, some Northern English guy who does chill videos building an Enterprise in a mediocre fashion. But your support is always, you know, appreciated. So, you know, just once more, thank you all very much for taking the time to watch this. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.